Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy. Got my America whiskey shirt on that I had to pay for. That I don't pay for shirts, so they should feel special. Joined by my co-host, my boy Sean Rigsby. We really appreciate y'all. We got Big Sturge sitting in. Somebody else to ask questions. I think he was bored and wanted to hang out with us a little bit.
My mother-in-law bought those shirts, so it's different.
Nice. And then our special guest, Miss Stephanie from Hocking Hills Distillery. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure. Anytime I can look at somebody other than Sean, I'm excited.
Sean's great looking.
Yeah, when you ain't got to look at him. My bad. Thank you for coming. Want to, welcome everybody. It's a special day here in America. I'm sure everybody knows today's 9/11, so we pay our respects. So we'll take a moment of silence for everybody. If you've got something you're drinking on, go on ahead and grab it and get you a sip for everybody. And
high quality H2O.
I got Freedom whiskey, small batch whiskey. Here it is right here.
Nice.
This batch right here is in remembrance of Captain Zach Hollingsworth, never forgotten. This was bottled October 17th, 2021.
Awesome. Amazing. I got some Knock 'em Stiff from old Pat's Hilltop Distillery. I like that blue corn, man. Just the water. Where's the Bud? Where's the Busch Lights at? There, Sean. I almost said Bud Light. Where's the Busch Lights at, Sean?
I'm still feeling a little under the weather, man. I'm trying to.
All right. So, how'd you spend your weekend, Sean?
In bed.
Got the COVID, didn't you?
Yep.
Oh man, that's rough. That's rough. So
that's all good though. I'm going back to work tomorrow as long as I'm feeling all right.
Nice. I mean, if you need a day off, man, take it. You don't want to rush back from that. So
yeah.
Miss Stephanie, what's you drinking on over there?
Just coffee every night.
Oh.
What's in the coffee? Let's be honest.
That's my secret.
Okay. Next question. No comment. Next question. No comment. You know how it is. I'm not a coffee person, so it's not my thing. I'll just stick to blue corn liquor. I know old Sturge likes some corn liquor.
I do. A lot.
Well, since you like corn liquor, Stephanie here knows a little bit about it.
Yeah, why don't you go on ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephanie, if you don't mind.
Well, let's see. I kind of just stumbled into the moonshining thing. My cousins own the distillery in Hocking Hills. They've had it since 2015, coming up on 8 years now.
Okay.
But they needed some help in the front, and I was like, sure, why not? I'm not doing anything. It was just every night of the week. And they were in the process of redoing a building that they purchased downtown.
Now, they were in New Straitsville, right?
No, they were in Hocking Hills.
Hocking Hills, okay.
The one brother did originally start in Straitsville.
Okay.
And he lost that. That good thing called divorce.
How'd I get you?
Every time.
So the one thing he couldn't divorce was his brother, so he started one with him.
Nice.
I came into it just to help out. And once we did the move about 7 months into it, everybody seemed to just quit and I was the only one left. So it was either I stepped up and did it or I let him hire another man to do the job.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna do the job like you can. So, so did you have any distilling experience before this?
No,
or none at all.
I went to college for art.
Okay, you're an artist,
What kind
so
of
it kind of worked out.
But you say you go to college for art. What kind of art? Was it like graphic?
It was just an art design and marketing.
Gotcha.
Nice. So, I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what you do, whatever your hobby is, your passion is, whether it's making moonshine, drawing pictures, painting cards, building sculptures, you're an artist in your own way, So everybody is it. We all have our thing that we enjoy to do, and it's a form of art in its own way. And it's awesome to see it. And I love hearing this, no experience of just hopping in. were you? So you want to keep elaborating on, getting drawn in and getting to where you're at now?
Well, at first it was like he gave me one day because both of the owners, my cousins, one's a police officer and the other one's an engineer for Ford, so he lives in Kentucky.
Okay.
So there was no hands-on training. It was just something I spent a lot of nights and weekends working at until I trained my brain on what to do every single day. Took a lot of work. 5 stills is a lot to handle.
It's a lot to handle for an experienced person, let alone, a newbie.
Yeah.
So you said 5 stills. So if I remember correctly, you guys don't run a thumper. You just basically double back everything that you run, correct?
Right. We have a double distilled. The second time through, it gives us a 151 and a 120 proof.
Nice.
I got a question.
Ask what?
All right, so this is just a big surge, not knowing anything. So Sean, you just said it. They don't have a thumper. So Stephanie, you're running without a thumper. What does that mean?
I just run a straight pot still, no fancy in betweens. It's
So
just
you got like
100 gallon.
you got the what I see is I'm a big drinker, so I like to drink it all, right? But I like to try. Sean, if you don't mind me asking,
Do your thing, man.
Yeah.
So you got the big pot with the beginning, and then like you got the middle thing, and then you got the worm. Like what is missing out of that, Stephanie? That you do that Sean or whoever's making it, what is it that you're missing out of that?
To me, I'm not missing anything. I didn't even know
Yep.
about thumpers until I started researching and looking into things. It's just one more thing they didn't want to add. They wanted to keep everything as simple as possible, but to the old school way that they could. It's just a stainless steel 100-gallon pot. We use all electric, so it takes a lot longer, obviously, to heat up. It takes about 12 to 14 hours just to do a regular mash run. And then from the stainless steel pot up through, we got about 60 feet of copper worm, and we run it into an old whiskey barrel to keep the lines nice and cool. And then the liquor comes out.
So to answer your question, Sturge, when you said the beginning, the middle, and the end, she doesn't use the middle part, which is the thumper.
I got you.
So what they're doing essentially is they're doing a run, and they're keeping everything, and then they're taking all that and dumping it back in the still and running it again.
Okay.
And so it's called a stripping run. It's the first run, and then the second run is called a spirits run.
Sorry for dumb questions.
That's why you're here.
That's why the big.
That's why you're here, Sturge. Not for dumb questions, for beginner questions that a lot of people that are listening to they can't ask because they're not in the comment section.
That's
so
right,
it's not,
Big Easy.
It's nice to have somebody here who doesn't know. That way you can ask the questions. Me and Sean aren't going to ask about thumpers and things like that. You're just going to be like, do you use it or not? No, why don't you?
A guy like myself, Stephanie, Sean, Big Easy, you go to a store and it says triple distill or, triple, I think some of the bottles say triple distilled or, so it's kind of good to know that stuff so you know what you're drinking.
Yep. Well, and a lot of times, like back in the day, well, even now, I mean, I don't know what on a stripping run, what kind of proof do you average? Probably about like 120, maybe.
Yeah, it comes out about 120.
It sounds about right,
But we keep that first part till it gets to about 110 proof, and we set that to the side because it'll start out at roughly 140 proof when it's coming out. But it takes a good 5-6 hours just to get between 4 to 6 gallons, depending on the time of the year. Because obviously, with the heat and humidity, you'll get a little bit more. And then from the 110 proof down, that's what we save, and we double distill once we get 100 gallons of it.
And what do you do with the above 120?
That gets tapered with a little bit of distilled water to a 90 proof. That's our single distilled run.
Nice.
Do you use your own distilled water?
We buy it from a water company, but the water originally, when we go to mash in, it is all from the farm. It goes through a bed of limestone into a spring well, and then Uncle Lester brings it in with the water truck, fills up the tank in the basement, and that's how we keep the mash going.
Nice.
We keep roughly 30 to 55 gallon barrels of mash going at all times.
It's a good bit.
It's, how big
lot
are
of
these mash
corn.
barrels? Yeah, it is. How big are those barrels?
They're
Oh,
about
wait.
55 gallons.
Nice.
And every barrel gets the same thing every time. So it was easier to teach other people
Mhm.
on how to do it when I couldn't be there. I've had a lot of foot issues, so I've had a lot of surgeries. And it's just 75 pounds of sugar, 50 pounds of cracked corn, 1 pound of yeast, and the rest is spring water. And that has to sit for 2 weeks, and we stir it once a day.
Okay. Let it do its thing. You know? I mean, that's, when you're doing something, you do the same thing over and over again as a business, it makes it easy to teach new employees. You don't have to
Yes.
spend so much time on it. So I could definitely see how, that could be. And Sturge, to answer your question about the distilled water, it's expensive to make your own distilled water when
Right.
it's a lot cheaper just to bring it in when you need it from
Yeah.
a big company, and that's all they do. So
Right.
in that point, it's about time and money. So,
Makes
So,
sense.
so is that? So you say you run the corn and sugar and yeast. What other things are you running at the distillery?
I have played with pawpaws a couple times. That is the worst thing to mess with. I hope to never in my life do pawpaws again.
Was it the
I did it.
straining? Wait, was it the straining of them?
The straining. It was like pure mucus. I couldn't even get my hands through it. It was horrible.
That reminds me of mangoes. Mangoes are similar, like the
Well,
texture.
I'll keep that in my brain. Never mangoes.
Peaches are where it's at, man. I wonder if on those pawpaws, if you would have been able to puree them and really all those fibers, it might have been easier to deal with. But hey, fruit's a different bird when it comes to straining it. Sometimes it reminds you of potatoes.
I'm pretty sure though the pawpaws isn't there in the seeds and also in the skin there's some kind of a toxin I think
Yeah.
that you really
We
don't
had
want.
to take all of that out.
Yeah.
It was
That would not be
actually
fun.
no, we kept the skins in there. We just took the seeds themselves out.
So when you talk about a toxin, I'm thinking like poisonous, right? So
Yeah.
how do you know as a distiller or whatever what you're giving somebody is not toxins or poisonous, I guess?
Well, I mean, you just gotta stick to what you know. In my
Yeah.
opinion. That's
Sean, that's not good enough, bro.
Hey,
How do I know
you're talking to me. I don't know. That's why I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Here's how you know it ain't going to kill you, because I tried it before I gave it to you. Hey,
Well, how do I know Big Easy? I don't know. You might have just.
I won't hand
been
anybody a
lucky.
jar that I'm not willing or haven't tried myself. Like, that jar came out of a giant batch that you bet your ass I drank from. Like,
Yeah.
let's be for real. So,
Well, back in the day, that's like my dad told me stories about moonshine. It can make you blind. It can kill you. It's just.
well, they were
it's a real
running.
thing.
They were running in car radiators and using leaded solder back then. They're making gin in bathtubs, and it's just
That's the good way.
it's a lot different. And like Richard said, research. As somebody who loves what they do, we're going to do it the cleanest, the best, the quality way that we could do it. We're going to put our soul into it.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure that nobody wants to be known as, hey man, Big Sturgeon's Liquor made my buddy go blind once.
Good shit.
Yeah, that was a good shit. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
It ain't meth. It ain't,
He's also
it ain't
sitting in
next
the
level.
prison cell.
It gets you to where you need to be, and that's do your research.
First off, Big Sturge only drinks the liquor. I don't make the liquor, so let's make that clear.
I get that. I was using you as just like a hypothetical reference.
Watch your mouth, Big Easy.
I got you, man.
So you were talking about older stills and stuff. You guys have an older still there on site, actually, don't you?
Yes.
They came from New Straitsville. You talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was part of a raid in 1974, I do believe. Actually, if you vacation in Tennessee at all, there is the big prison that you can go into to visit, Alcatraz. At the very end of that tour is a picture of that still hanging on their wall. Don't know how they got it, but it's a picture taken in New Straitsville.
Is that the prison where they do ghost tours?
No, it's just to show you people that have been incarcerated in Alcatraz through the years.
And that's
I'm glad it wasn't a ghost tour.
Yeah, I love ghost tours. I was just curious. I'm all about it.
I stayed at a haunted church this weekend. What are you talking about?
Big Easy, I wondered about that. Dude, I wanted to text you and ask you.
I'll tell you, this ain't my show, man. I'm not. We'll talk about that later.
I'm sorry, I was just.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that later on. But anyways, how long have you been at Hocking Hills? I don't know if you said earlier. My memory's terrible.
I've been there.
The same question a few times. Just bear with me.
Probably a little over 4.5 years.
Nice.
I've been doing the distilling for almost 4 years.
What is one mistake that you made along the way that really helped you become a much better distiller?
Well, I can't believe I'm going to admit this to the world. But,
that's why we're here. We're live. We're uncut. Remember,
all of our barrels are on casters, so it makes it a lot easier to get it over to the still so I can strain everything off. And
this sounds like Ian's story.
There is a big hole in the floor because where there used to be a drain there, so he filled it in with some crappy stuff, and it caught. I'm there by myself. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I push that barrel, and it goes to the floor, and the little cork on the end pops straight out and goes running across the store. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? This is fermented mash ready to go in the stills. I had to stick my finger in it, try to find where my phone was, and call my cousin and be like, I don't know where you are, but you need to get here right now. Because I'm laying on the floor with a barrel with my finger plugging the holes. Horrible.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah,
at least it was just coming out a little hole. I dropped one like that in my house once, and the whole lid came off, and all of it went all over the living room. So those are old days. I don't do stuff like that no more. I'm retired from all that crap. It's too much work. But yeah, similar. And you're just stuck like fingering. It's awesome.
But it's funny. Everybody you meet that's done this stuff has some kind of a story like that. Whether they made a mess or they about killed themselves or something.
And so we're always like, what went wrong? And now, everybody knows, be careful for holes in the floor.
Yeah, don't go near that weird spot you tried to fix.
Yeah. Put a cone over it. Put a cone over that one. It's the no space. That's awesome. You're right. I did. I dropped a jar of peach brandy at Farm to Bottle. I went to pull it out of my pocket, and my big hands that I think they were greasy from that cheeseburger that Sturge fed me. It was delicious. I had
that fried cheese on a stick was amazing there.
Yeah, my cousin Phil Billy ate like 30 of those. I think he's still plugged up from it. But yeah, I did. I dropped a jar of peach brandy, but it was for everybody who couldn't be there. You gotta give them something.
I warmed you up with that cheeseburger, brother.
That's right. It was nice. It was right after all right. So
I don't even know if you remember that cheeseburger.
I did. I ate a bunch of brisket, and then he texted me like, I got burgers and brats, and he's like 2 spots over, and I'm like, well, I'm going over here now.
My son's like, Dad, there's Big Easy. I'm like, where? And he like points across, like it's in the. I'm telling you, he shows up pitch dark, and my son's like over there, and I'm like, he's not over there. Next thing you know, there he was.
There I am. You want some blueberry lemonade? That's how I get it. Hey, cool people eat cheese on a stick, Vince.
That's true.
So, have you experimented with making anything wild, like out of the box that you enjoy?
I did make a rum. I loved the fermentation process of the rum because the whole place smelled like sweet potatoes. It made me feel like I was walking into Thanksgiving every single day. Till I went to fill the stills, and that was another big mess. I didn't take into account the fact that when I'm doing a corn mash, I have solids. When I'm doing for the rum, I have no solids. So when I pour in the 2 big barrels into the still, all of a sudden I just heard this crazy noise, and it looked like my stills were bleeding because there was red everywhere. So I did learn, only use 1.5 of those barrels. but it turned out pretty good. I did a second run of it, and then we double distilled it, brought it out to about 160 proof, and it's been sitting in a wooden barrel since January of last year, just fermenting in its own little barrel.
Nice.
Speaking of barrels, you guys have jumped into that.
Yes, we do have bourbon.
Bourbon.
Yes.
In-house made and
talking
aged bourbon.
Yes. All it is our 120 proof, aged for 2 years in a white oak charred barrel. We go down to Speyside Bourbon Cooperage in Jackson, Ohio, buy 3 barrels every single month, fill them full, cork them, and they sit for 2 years.
So do you char them yourself?
No, we buy them already ready. And we do a number 3 char with a medium toast.
That was my next question.
Actually, I've got a bottle right here.
Hey, Sturge, bro, they ain't far away. They're just right in Hocking Hills, Ohio.
Oh,
in that
really?
area. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like an hour away.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a trip.
That way. Look at this. That's dark, too.
Sean's got a bottle of this bourbon.
You don't
Sean,
share.
you live right next door, bro.
You don't share.
It is
Well,
110
About to
proof.
show up like bodyguards and knock his ass out.
Uh,
That looks good. What's the presentation on the back?
Nothing.
The label. Okay. Very cool.
Just this was the very first bottle, so I kept it.
How long was it barreled for?
2 years.
See,
It is
2
100% corn.
popcorn. So
it starts like this. This is our 120 proof.
okay,
Buckeye Lightning. I like that.
Put it into a barrel, and it comes out like this.
nice.
2 years about my sweet spot for anything with wood.
Yeah,
If it's in a barrel, I'm not real
No.
big into that.
We just
4
sat
years.
back 2 runs for a 10-year age.
Oh. Now you're
that's-
talking my language. I like anything from 5 to 10. I mean, trust me, I've had really good whiskey that's 2 years, but my sweet spot's probably 5 to 10.
Well, if you're not local enough to come, we sell
I'm
all of
local enough.
Ohio.
Yeah, he's not far from us, so
Yeah.
he's probably a little over an hour from you guys.
Well, that's not bad. That's a
No.
little drive.
Oh yeah, and then you're in Hocking Hills. Like you can't beat it. Like it's so beautiful. There's so much to see and do. Like you had a couple distilleries out there, and then go see the woods.
We just got ranked as one of the top places in the U.S. to come and see.
If you haven't been to the Hocking Hills region of Ohio, you're totally missing out. It's beautiful. Old Judd Henderson lives down there, and it's amazing. Every time we go there,
Chad's from? I didn't know that.
yeah, he's down in that area. Every time I go, we go to Hocking Hills. I lived here my whole life, and you can never go there enough.
Oh,
So-
that's for sure. My sister got married there. It's beautiful.
It's definitely becoming a tourist town.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So what was I gonna say? Shit. So you guys do a bunch of flavors and stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, we do 4.
Okay.
We take, remember how I said the single distilled earlier?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We take our 90 proof. This is our single distilled. And we work with Monin syrups because they're the biggest to work with and they have the most flavors. And we blend the 90 proof with 4 of their syrups to bring out a 45 proof flavor. We have a raspberry, a peach tea, a granny apple, which is my personal favorite, and then a blackberry, which is Ohio's most favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And we like our blackberries,
I like
especially
everything you just
especially
said.
up north. Yeah, me too. I got to try the clear pawpaw. I want to say I got it. Yeah, it's a pawpaw brandy,
Okay.
and it had banana characteristics to it. At least I thought it did.
Are you talking about the one from Straitsville?
Yeah,
Okay.
Um,
That was the Hocking College or Diamond or
Yeah.
Hawkeye Diamond or
okay.
Yeah.
I keep getting
Yeah.
them mixed up. I'm dumb, so just reach through and slap me.
Big Easy, you're like the smartest guy I know. Shut up.
No. Thanks for lying to me, man. I appreciate
Shut
that,
up, man.
Sturge. Made me feel nice.
Boy, man.
You made me feel nice, Sturge. That's my man.
So of course I love you.
So, hey, we're all coming down to the Hocking Hills Distillery, man. We're gonna make a road trip down there.
Look, if American whiskey,
Brett, come on down
with them guys.
Yeah, get with American Whiskey. They'll set up and do a podcast down there.
Hey,
come
we've
down
got a
there.
lot
How
of
about that?
gorgeous cabins
Oh,
and
I'd love to.
lodges.
I do have a question. So you talk about all the different. You said you had 4 flavors.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I am not intelligent at all. I just like to drink a lot. And I have a podcast called American Whiskey, which is a bunch of guys that drink a lot that don't make no sense. But I do know that, like, when you flavor alcohol, it could either be like post production, I guess, and then pre-production, right? So, did you say you had like green apple, or you had apple, or even blackberry and all that? So is that post, or
Yeah, that's post.
Okay.
We have a big silver pan that we kind of pour. We know the measurements for everything it needs to go in there to bring it from the 90 to the 45. Because at any time, y'all know Ohio's not a fun state with liquor. They can come in there, pop the tops on any bottle, and test anything they want.
Mm-hmm. And it better be what you say it is.
And it's got to be like within a point something percent on it.
It's very close. We used to use the hydrometer to test everything. And then a couple years ago, we got what is that machine called? It's a little handheld machine. It's really expensive. And it kind of shoots the liquor up into it, and it gives it the exact.
Even when it's flavored and sugars and all that?
Not when it's flavored.
No?
When it's flavored, you're kind of just stuck.
Okay.
You have to make sure that you keep your recipes on par.
I thought you were talking about a breathalyzer for a second.
Got to do the math.
Anton Pear, that's the machine.
Sorry,
okay.
I tried to make a joke.
Oh shit! But
what's your favorite? Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, you go ahead.
You forgot already, didn't you? It's cool.
No. I was going to ask. Are you guys planning on opening a second location at any time, or are you guys? Just
he's not planning on it, but ever since we moved into the bigger facility, because like I said, we went from a 1,200 square foot little space where he rented it to a ginormous building. Mm-hmm. So since we've upgraded from the 2 stills to the 5, our reach has gotten bigger. Like we're in Michigan now with our bourbon. So what he plans on doing is, I'm sure you saw the kitchen. We were supposed to open a kitchen a couple years ago, but he's having a problem finding anybody that will come in and put in a sprinkler system to the building. So if you know anybody out there, he's looking.
If you put in sprinkler systems, better hit up Stephanie at Hocking Hills Distillery.
There was a place up here that I used to deliver gas to. Was Buckeye something. Buckeye. I'll have to see if I can't figure out who that is. But it's up here in Dayton, Middletown area, I think. Oh, fuck, it's been a long time, but I'll have to see if I can't figure out who that is. But that's what they do.
That would be great.
I mean, Sean could solder copper pipe.
Well, my husband's a state licensed plumber, and he does a lot of our work. But
his name's Sean too.
Yeah. So it's easy name to remember.
Nice. Not for me. I already forgot it. So I'm terrible with names.
God, you and Sean are the worst at remembering, bro.
That's how it is. Accept it. You're going to be friends with us. You got to accept that you're going to have to remind us about things. And I'm terrible with names. You just got to be like, that dude that did this, and that. And I'm like, oh, I remember who. So
it took you a while to know me. I like my name.
Yeah, I got spelling your name wrong and stuff, But
you know what messed up, bro? Is like you spelled my name wrong for since I'd known you, and then it stuck. So now everybody spells it that way, and I'm like, really, bro?
I'm a trendsetter, man. I don't apologize for things.
Stephanie, just realize it's STURG, not with an E at the end.
There's the E. It's silent.
There's the E now.
It's silent. It's silent. Just put it there. It's silent.
Silent but deadly.
That's
It's very deadly. He trains that shit. I'm telling you right now. Stephanie's about to end up with 2 E's at the end. So
That's right. There's already one there. We just forgot to put it there. It's silent.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite thing for you to make at the distillery?
In the stills or just behind the counter? Because I do a lot of different concoctions behind the counter.
Let's go behind the counter. What's your favorite mix? So your concoction, mixed drink, whatever you want to call it. What's your favorite thing to
There's
create?
two. I'm all about layered shots. See, in Ohio, since we don't have a full-on liquor license bar yet, we can only do 4 quarter-ounce shots.
Yes.
And they're $1 a piece. Still has to have their tax money.
Always.
So I take the 151 and I blend it with a little bit of French vanilla. So I turn it into around 100 proof French vanilla. And then I just pour into raspberry down into it. Just the raspberry syrup. Don't mix it, no nothing. And it layers it. I'm all about the pretty drinks because we get a lot of ladies in there and they love that stuff.
I'm not a lady and I'm interested.
That's where your money's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
I sell so many
I'm
bottles.
sign off right now because you just called me a girl.
Your money,
about that.
your money's in ladies and sturge with an E.
You would not believe how many men come in there and they're scared of moonshine.
Oh,
And once I make them those drinks, they're like, oh, I can totally handle this. They're just like shooting them back. I had a group of guys come up from, I do believe it was Montana 2 years ago. It was during the winter. They were deer hunting. And they bought every different drink that I could make. All the different syrups, everything. And I swear they had to have spent $1,000 within the group. Because you're only allowed to sell so many bottles also. But then they came back the next day and bought more because they weren't allowed to buy as many as they wanted. So it was great.
I know what it's like to be capped at trying to buy jars at a distillery. I dig that.
We are allowed to sell 4 jars.
Yeah, they limited me to 24 jars in Tennessee.
I didn't think they limited
understand
anybody
that.
in Tennessee.
They did me 24 jars. I think they saw it in my eye. I was about to be like, I need 80 of this and 20 of these.
So I'm really lost right now. So what is the law in Ohio?
It's one of the harder states to make liquor in. Like, for instance, you used to only be able to sell 2 bottles per person. Now it's up to 4. They changed that right after we did our bourbon release, which really sucked because we had so many people that wanted so many bottles.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to do 4 quarter-ounce shots. You could do 1 shot, but it makes more sense to bring them down into quarter ounces. That way they can try 4 things.
Yeah.
Unless you do have a bar license. If you have the bar license, I mean, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. Right. There's just so many rules with the higher proof spirits because we are considered controlled substance.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio, do better. Come on.
Good luck.
Do better.
When they changed their logo, it shouldn't have been find it here. It should have been no fun, go away.
No shit. Dylan, if my boy from American Whiskey that's on all the time, the state of Ohio liquor, because that's ridiculous. So what is the point of that? Like, what's the point of limiting it? I feel like
COVID has really opened the doors with that. Now you're allowed to go to a bar and get a drink and take it home as long as it's got a cover over it. So they're trying to get there. They're just behind everybody else. Like they want to get to the point where you could start delivering liquor.
Nobody leaves a Mexican restaurant. I tried it once. I tried it personally. I tried it. I left the Mexican restaurant with a margarita. I got home and it was gone. So arrest me now.
Remember during COVID, they was letting you leave with margaritas.
Yeah,
like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, margarita to go."
Yeah.
And people are walking out.
They pick up your go to go order, and it was like, if you got a to go order during COVID, you got a free margarita, and I'm like, give me 2 more meals.
Yeah, is it 1 per meal?
My wife's like, what's wrong? When I get back with the message for the 4 kids and the wife, and I'm like, nothing. She's like, you just seem kind of weird right now. I'm like,
I had 3 margaritas on the way home, man.
Baby, I'm fine. What's the problem?
I'm good. Where's my margarita? Like, oh, they didn't.
But listen, they make it hard for people at distilleries to make a good living and sell their alcohol. But for good, you can leave a restaurant with a closed container. You can pop a straw in. That makes sense. That makes
Just
sense.
a piece of saran wrap.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Your profit margin per jar is probably this big, and you have to sell millions of jars, and realistically, the money's made on mixed drinks. But if you don't have the license to sell mixed drinks, then you know how you supposed to turn a jar that you make $1 off of into a jar you make $100 off of if you can't sell mixed drinks, and that's how it is in Ohio. I think
It's a hard state.
yeah, one guy said he makes $4 a jar in profit, and it's like, holy crap.
Well, Big Easy, I had that like when you go to the Drury. You guys know what the Drury is? It's the hotel chain.
Yeah.
I had stayed at plenty of juries out of the state of Ohio, and you would go, you get the room, you know, with your wife or whatever, and you get 3 free drinks. But in the state of Ohio, if you go to jury, you have to pay the taxes on those drinks. And I'll never forget going to my first jury in Ohio, and I had to pay the money for that drink still, technically.
You just had to pay the tax on it.
The tax on it. And
Well,
it's like, really?
There's a bar in that hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been to
100%.
one.
Yeah, jury, like when you get a room, you get 3 free drinks.
And they feed you. Breakfast.
And they feed you.
They have a dinner. Like, it's legit, dude. Like, it's worth it. You go stay at the jury, man. You feel like a king.
The breakfast and the dinner. It ain't
It's
bad.
worth it, man. Yeah, you know,
It's definitely worth it.
You know, I mean,
But
let's be for real. Their 3 drinks are like, you know, they give you 2 ounces of
they're like
wine.
you know, Jake and Coke,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what's a Jake and Coke? And they're like, the Jake and Coke, you know,
That's
like
big.
it's shit you never heard of.
So when I go to the jury, I'm like, put all 3 drinks into one.
Yeah. But in Ohio, they're like, all right, that's 38 cents. But if you go to a different state, they're like, hey, it ain't nothing. I'm like, well, that's weird. You know,
Like, that's why when you go to the hotel, you take your own stuff to drink on. You know,
that's a good point.
that's where it's at. So
It's in the shampoo bottle, isn't it?
nah, it's usually just in a jar. I mean, me and Hooch made some friends at the jury once, and we had got some soccer dads really, really drunk, who do not drink apple pie. They're not allowed to drink apple pie, but they drink a quart of apple pie, and they were in trouble. We saw them the next morning. Like, so we see these soccer dads at the jury, and they invite us over to play cards, and I know how to play euchre, and so I'm playing with them, and then the topic of apple pie comes up, and they tell war stories from when they were younger, and they're not allowed to drink anymore. And by the end of it, they're drinking apple pie, they're passing it around. It's 3:30 in the morning. We're hooting it up down in the lobby, and then one of the wives comes down, and she just got this look, and the dude knows like it's time to go to bed. And so they leave, and we see them down the next morning at breakfast, and they're all just, you know, they got that. I ain't drank that much in a long time, and they won't look at us. They won't look at us like me. I'd have been like, it was him, babe. It was him. He was feeding me that stuff. He's the reason why I am the way I am.
The problem.
Hey,
I would agree with that.
I'm good with it. I ain't got no problem with that. So
anytime you're around Big Easy, he's like, try this. And I'm like, I better not. And he's like, give it a try. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Oh, Big Easy's peer pressure. Like, Stephanie, when we come there, he's going to like bring these jars, and he's just going to be like, try this one. But where's that from?
We're not allowed to bring jars to a distillery. Sturge, they have jars.
No, but we can take it to the Airbnb bar.
Yeah. Those would be the jars we buy at the distillery. So.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. It doesn't matter where they came from. I could have got it from Kroger's. She would try it.
Hey, we sell our stuff at Kroger's.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now,
try this.
You guys sell your stuff in Springfield, too, don't you? At the Wineworks? Okay, I thought so.
I'm pretty
what
sure
county
they're.
Is that?
I'm pretty sure they're at Kroger's here in Inglewood.
What county is that?
Clark.
We sell it in Enon and Springfield at the Wineworks. Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Enon, we sell it
there tomorrow.
Yeah, we sell in over 250 state liquor stores.
Man, look at her bringing the papers out.
Nice.
It's good to have receipts, boys.
Solid
It's
point.
good to
Big
know,
Easy.
huh?
Sean, I'll
How you
pick
doing,
up those
Jason?
bottles, bro.
Oh yeah, like shoot over
Now,
Sean.
if you
She's got
want
some
this
jars.
bottle, this one, after tax, it's like 52 and some change. Ohio raising the prices.
This is American whiskey. We try bottles that are 107, and you're
Okay,
like,
well then
what
this
the fuck
right
is
in.
this?
Yeah.
This one though, at the 151 bottle over here, this one they take 43% in taxes straight off the top.
Mm.
Now, it's do you use the get your ingredients in Ohio and save your taxes
Yes.
lower as much as you can?
We go to the restaurant and get skids of sugar. They are 50-pound bags, so it's a lot easier. Just a whole and a half per barrel.
So when it comes to sugar, and you like say you bought it from Restaurant Depot, I already forgot what you just said because it's terrible. But I'm gonna call it the Restaurant Depot. And when you buy it from there, does the sugar have to be made in Ohio, or does this have to be purchased from a company in Ohio? Or is sugar like that kind of gray area as opposed to like corn and fruits and things like that?
It's mostly about how much it costs, really, because everything has just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So what we can get at a bulk discount for a whole, we buy 2 to 3 skids at a time at 50-pound bags a piece. So it's just all about the price, really.
Yeah, nice.
Now the corn, we've used the same thing since they opened almost 8 years ago. That's just cracked corn from Tractor Supply. The hunters don't like us during hunting season, but Tractor Supply loves us.
Now,
And it's all locally sourced Ohio corn.
Okay, so that corn comes from Ohio, so you're still able to claim, well, this came from Ohio. You're only going to charge me half the tax of what you was going to, so maybe make a
But you're not
more
necessarily worried about like local corn, right?
We've had farmers come in, and the cost just wasn't what we needed.
Yeah.
It's just so expensive. You guys see, you got to produce a whole lot to make a little bit. So that's why they have day jobs.
Yes. And like I said, if you're just selling jars, it's hard to get by here in Ohio. You got it. Most of these distilleries you go into, they got a bar. And that's how they make it. They got a bar, and if you got a bar, then you got profit. You got a way to make profit. And like I said, you got food, you take that one jar of 120 and you turn it into 100 mixed drinks, and that's where your money's made. Because when you walk in, mixed drinks are $8 to $12, and if you go there with your lady, she drinks 3 or 4 mixed drinks, and that's 3 or 4 shots of liquor throughout the night, and you drink a beer, you're drinking beer, and that's where you make your money. So you can see how it's a lot harder to make it just selling jars here in Ohio. They don't do us no favors, man. And on top of that, how hard they make it to get open, to get that license and get it open, and make you wait so long. So yeah, like Big Sturge said, man, I like the name change, Sturge. And and like Sturge said, man, do better, Ohio, man. Help us out.
Yeah.
Let us make liquor, man. Make it not so hard on everyone. Make it as easy to open a distillery and produce high quality liquor as it is to open a craft brewery and make beer. Make another IPA, because there ain't enough IPA places out there.
But it goes to every atmosphere in Ohio. Like I'm looking at buying. I can't go into too much detail of it, but I'm looking at buying a brick and mortar store right now, and they sell, beer. But I want to know what it took to get more than that. What it would take to get the whiskeys, the moonshines, the wines, and I didn't realize how much it took in Ohio to get that.
You got to hand the state a blank check and say, "Do your thing, bro. Let me know how much it is."
So we're looking into it right now, and it's just like, Ohio, do fucking better, because you're making it hard for people to just create a dream, run with it, because when they create that dream, then there's all these obstacle courses that they got to jump over in order to reach the final part of it.
But if I wanted to make another shitty IPA, I could have a craft brewery in a few months.
Exactly. exactly.
I'm not a fan of IPAs. You know? Oh God,
I'm not a
But,
fan
but
either.
what you're saying, Big Easy, is a real thing. Like
Yeah.
it's it's true. I mean,
And what's the difference? The alcohol percentage. That's the difference
Mhm.
between an IPA and my jar of moonshine. But at the end of the day, you will sell me a keg of IPA that I could drink until I throw up
Right.
on, but you make it hard to buy a jar of liquor that
And
could
it's
do the
all about
same
this at the
thing
end
to
of the
you.
day.
Yes, it's all about the money at the end of the day. It's insanity.
to,
And
cre-
maybe
to create that, just that brick and mortar store, bait shop, whatever you want to call it, that I'm trying to get at, and make that dream come true. You have to jump through all these things. And I always wonder, I'm like, why don't they sell more than beer? That's stupid.
Mhm.
Why don't they sell more than that $4 bottle of wine? That's ridiculous.
I do like me a $4 bottle of wine sometimes, Bradley.
You don't want to see me on a $4 bottle of
Hey,
wine, brother.
Speaking
You
of that,
go to Aldi and get that blackberry,
I
$3.50, man.
got, dude, I got a
$3.50.
red wine from Aldi's
Bro.
on Saturday, $4.99.
Hey, take your
Aldi's a hidden
crappy
secret.
wine and mix it with our blackberry. Add you some frozen fruit, and you got
Listen,
the
you
best
said you
stuff.
wanted at
Nice.
Wineworks. I'm going to Wineworks tomorrow. I'll pick Big Easy, Sean. I'll pick everybody up a bottle of that, and I will mix it with it upstairs right now.
Nice. Look forward to that.
no, she got one right there.
Sean
Yeah,
wakes me
you
up.
knew she had one right there.
Blackberry.
We're gonna try all this. So I don't know if y'all are busy this weekend, but y'all want to get together, make a trip to Hocking Hills. You say the word.
Hey, I can make that happen, no problem.
We'll convoy down there and we'll get it, man. We'll have a good
Let's make it
time.
happen. Let's make it happen. Sean Rigsby might got the COVID.
Nah, he'll be over it by then. He's good to go.
Make sure you try this one.
If we're there, so our plan is if we come in the door, we try everything. And I tell you, even the R&D stuff you got going on in the back, we really like trying this stuff. Like, one of my favorite stories about the R&D things are, I was down in Maggie Valley with Sean. Sean took me over to Adventure Distilling and old Kelly, and we're trying his liquors. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday at the Jam.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, it was 5 o'clock a few hours ago in the morning, and we're trying these, and I'm still half lit. I think it was the Winter Jam when we went, and then we try all these, and we're checking out. They got stainless tanks out back. They got this big piss pot from a popcorn out front, and he's like, "Man, I've been working on this pineapple. You guys want to try it?" And we don't say no to a jar, or especially something new. And we tried it, and we're all just like, "Bro, that's legit." That's legit. And then a few months later, he's got it out on the shelf, and it's like, oh yeah, I tried that before it was out. I got to try that before it was out. So it was just one of the cool try it before, Not if it's 5 a.m. LeMasters. So you rocking about 100, 105 there?
I got this from a buddy of mine. He I don't know what the hell he calls it. Peach Shine or something.
Yeah.
And
it's
pretty good. No, it's not bad. It's
little peach brandy.
Well, I think that's what he calls it, but
yeah. That's fine.
That was full. That tonight, that was full. I mean,
you had a show earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
That's amazing.
You said Uncle Joey was an animal.
I don't know, man. Uncle Joey's a dude, man. He
Uncle Joey's an animal. You're right.
He is. That's for sure.
That's my brother.
So what kind of plans do you guys have going on?
That was my question.
Well, get it out then.
You're good. You got this.
So are you guys? Go ahead.
The restaurant and the bar.
Nice.
Okay.
But also, he is getting ready to do the one thing you guys were making fun of earlier. He's thinking about making a beer.
There ain't nothing wrong with it.
Big Sturge didn't make fun of anybody making beer because I love beer.
I just said it wasn't my thing, Beer's not my thing. It's a lot of work. If you guys
do come down to Hocking Hills Moonshine this weekend, I don't know if you've ever been to the Brewery 33. But when we're done with our bourbon barrels, since they can only be used one time to make a true authentic bourbon, they go straight to the brewery and they age bourbon beer.
Nice.
I'd be interested in trying
I
that.
think Still Talking might be there with a sidekick.
I've had some barrel aged wine that was amazing. So I'm intrigued about the beer.
Is that the only reason he's wanting to do that? Just so he can?
Well, like you guys were talking about different laws and everything earlier, and he's been trying to get this restaurant in, but he has had no success with finding companies that are willing to do things with that old building. He can, but they're wanting like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're just a small, moonshine distillery. So he was talking about the laws, and when the breweries came a law, all their different laws that they came up with, one of the things that they put into contract was if they make beer on site, they can then have a restaurant. So you don't have to go through
loophole.
the other crap. Yes. The
Okay.
brewers were smart when they made their laws. They just didn't make it good for the distillers.
Now, as far as making beer could be as simple as making a hard apple cider. Just making apple wine and then
you just have to have it for sale on your shelf. That's all it is. And then you open the floodgates for your restaurant and your bar, because essentially there's no more liquor licenses in the Hocking house. But since we make the liquor, we get grandfathered into that.
Nice.
Any sour beers?
I don't know what he's going to make. I'm not a beer person.
What the fuck's a sour beer?
It's sour.
Sour beer, bro.
It is
Like
legit.
a sour mash?
It's sour.
It ain't nothing like sour mash. Like, it is legit. You drink it and it is sour. Like,
It makes you go like this.
yeah, it's bad. Not
Well,
my
that's
thing.
this.
Bad. It's
Not my thing. I didn't mean bad. It's just not my thing. I'm not a big beer guy.
So speaking of sour mash, Stephanie, do you guys do anything like that, or do you guys do sweet mashes? And
No,
then
it's
you're done with
just
the
the straight sour mash.
Okay.
Other than the times that I've done the paw, the rum, stuff like that, which those are just things that we're playing around with. Those aren't things that we're bottling or selling. If we had the bar, we could sell it through that, but we're just playing around with things because you always want to test things out. You're allowed to do the testing phase, but you can't physically sell it because, one of the rules of the game. And if you want to play the game, you got to play all the rules.
Right.
Every rule, every little bitty rule, you better be on top of every little thing, man. It's almost like the parent that's waiting for you to mess up so they can get you, and it's just waiting on you to mess up. And
damn, Big, you sound like that parent. Hell,
hey, I'm not that parent. I've trust me. I grew up with a couple different people like that. They wait for you to mess up or set you up for failure just so they can bust you when you fail. That's the state liquor. That's Ohio State liquor. Cross your T's, dot your I's twice.
Yeah.
So,
well, the good thing is if you come into the distillery, you get a tour around the facility. Sean knows, he's been there. I've given him the tour. You get to try the samples. Like I said, they do cost $4 max. But you can share, since you essentially want to try all of them. We do have 8 products. You have to share with somebody that you're with because, one of those.
$4 max, you said?
$4 max.
There's no reason not to go. If you've not been there for $4, come on.
But the tour is completely free. So you can see our mash barrels. We'll open them. We'll let you see the processes from one that's fresh versus one that's getting ready to go to the still. If you come on a Tuesday or a Saturday, the stills are running. So those are your best days. Unless we're doing a double distillation, then that one takes about 4 to 5 days because we shut everything off at night. So that way nothing overflows. We've had that happen a few times. That's no fun. It's a lot of wasted time. But we hand bottle everything in the store. So everything is done right there on site. And then Brian, the one brother, he actually is the one that drives it to the warehouses. We have a warehouse in Greene County, close to Cleveland. They do our Cleveland area. And then we have a warehouse in Groveport, close to the Columbus area. Cleveland is actually one of our best-selling markets, believe it or not.
Big city. Big city. So
That's a good point, Big Easy. I mean, that's a very, very large area.
Large city.
Yeah.
And it, when you get city folks and you say the word moonshine, and it's different. It's a different level for
I'll
city
never
folks.
forget going with my brother to Cleveland. He said, we're going to go take a guy's trip to Cleveland. And I'm thinking inner city, big buildings. And we went, and it was cornfields, but we were in Cleveland. But you go 10 minutes, whichever direction it was, and you were in Cleveland. It was crazy.
That sounds like almost every city in Ohio.
That's a good point.
10 minutes out of that city, you're hitting cornfields, and then you're in another big city in another 25, 30
Very
minutes.
good point.
So that's kind of how it is. Now, once you get down in southern Ohio, southeastern Ohio, it's hills, city, hills. But even down there, they don't care, man. They'll farm on them hills. You'll be like, oh, that's a cornfield going up the side of the hill. Don't care in Ohio, man. We making corn. We making food. We gonna get it done. So
it was interesting. I was I forget where I went. We were somewhere in Ohio after the Wilmington Farm to Bottle Festival, and I went into a gas station to try to find a 6-pack of beer, and they're like, "Oh, we don't sell beer in this area." And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we're a dry county." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" Like,
literally, where the fuck?
Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? You got to go to a different county to buy beer. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Dang. I drove through a time portal. I didn't know.
I was like, what do you mean you're in the middle of nowhere? And they're like,
I've only heard about this on TV. You think you guys would sell alcohol? You're in the middle of nowhere.
Dude, I've never even heard of it. Big Easy. I was like, Is this a thing? Like, you're kidding. And she's like, clearly I'm not done. I'm like, okay, well.
Kind of like when the Michigan people come to Ohio and they're like, you guys have drive-thrus that sell alcohol?
Yeah, you gotta get out of the car. Like, we're all about keeping you drunk. We just ain't about letting you open it at a distillery.
Right.
That's where they draw the line at. Like, we'll keep you drunk, but you ain't allowed to make it yourself yet. So, maybe if the SB 13 bill makes through, that could lead to easier laws.
Can you explain what that is?
So the SB 13 bill in Ohio is a bill that allows everybody in Ohio 21 or older to legally own a still and produce 100 gallons of untaxed liquor a year. And per person 21 in your household. So if you got a wife, you could make 200 gallons and, you can own your still. And if they pass that, it makes home distilling legal. And maybe that's a step forward.
State-wise.
Yeah, state-wise, not federal-wise, state-wise.
So, do you know where
21-year-olds?
Do you know where that's at?
It came out of agriculture. It made it through the agricultural department, wherever you call it. I don't know the technical name. And now I think it's upcoming for the House. So I think it's waiting to get into the House for a vote. It went through the Senate. It went through the agricultural board, and I believe it's in the House. So hopefully it'll get through, and like I said, that might, and I could see that, some distilleries being like, man, we don't want that to pass. These people are allowed to make 100 gallons at home, but on the same end, it could make things easier for a distillery. Maybe it'll make them lessen up on you. You just never know.
Regardless whether you're making it at your house, you want to try other people's, whether it's, whether you're getting to that wine works in Springfield, like Stephanie said, they have it there, or whether you're making it at your house. I think, people are going to want it either way.
Yeah.
Whether you're making it or not.
Well, and you go back to that dry county.
Yeah.
It might not be so dry no more. And let them make alcohol. But
all I was trying to do in this county was play some golf. I literally went to a gas station trying to play 18 holes, and I was like, you guys got Miller Lite or anything? And she's like, we're a dry county. I was like, so do you have Michelob? And she's like, we don't have shit here. And I'm like,
that just means you ain't
have Coors Light.
We'll sell you medical weed if you want it.
I was like, that's
fine. Around back
that's
medical weed. That's what's crazy, like, we'll sell you weed, and medical weed, and that's coming up on the ballot for recreational too here.
Yeah,
And
November.
It's like, bro, just let us do what we want. You know, like we're all adults. Let us do what we want, man.
Let me run some moonshine and grow my own plants. That's all I care about.
Yeah, let me be
It's
an
just
American.
farming.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing it for agricultural purposes.
Hey, I could grow tomatoes and cucumbers I won't eat as much as I want, but I can't grow weed, and I can't take my fruit trees and turn them into brandy if I want. You know what I'm saying? So
don't look between my okra and my tomato plants.
that's right. Those are just different tomato plants. So
yeah.
There you go. Make a moonshine. Make a mash-in of tomatoes
and okra.
And you can. Sean, tell us about the tomato paste mash. I learned about tomato paste mash from Sean. He told me all about it.
Would the acidity not work?
No, it works great. I mean, it's just I used to use straight sugar and tomato paste for the nutrient as a nutrient, and it was just a straight sugar. It turned it fucking blood red, but it worked great. I'd say like 10%.
Did you make chili with it?
Huh?
Did you make chili with it?
Bloody Marys with the mash.
All I'm saying is don't knock it till you try it.
So would any of that
the flavor does not come through.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know that's what I was going to ask for the people.
Yeah.
So like there's no tomato flavor in the distillate. It's just a straight flavorless sugar shine.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
So was Stephanie at Farm to Bottle?
Yes. I wasn't like there. I was just.
Can I have what?
A consumer.
Big Easy, Sean.
Do what?
You can mute me if you want. That's fine.
Okay, hold on a second.
Bro, you ask away, man. You got a question to ask.
Okay, so I found a very good, I think it was a vodka, boys and girls. I don't know for sure, but Fred from Lake Erie Distillery had a dill pickle vodka. I think.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
I bought V8 today to try it with that dill pickle vodka. I haven't tried it yet, but tell me that Stephanie, did you try it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, never mind.
The only thing I tried was the things that were in the test tubes. Those were amazing.
You're talking about the Jello shots?
Jello shots.
Hey,
yeah.
Uncle Joe, are you listening? How were those?
Those were incredible.
Big shout out to Doug Taylor for the Jello shots, man.
They were so good.
I bet he sold 1 million of those things.
What was the one we had?
And I bet 500,000 of them went to Uncle Joey.
Oh my god, 100%, dude.
Yeah,
Sean,
the strawberry
Big Easy, did you try
cheesecake.
it?
Oh my!
What?
Did you try that dill pickle?
So good.
No.
Okay, so I got it. I'm not going to drink no more until you guys try it.
So I tried it, and I tried it in his little Bloody Mary mix he had. Yeah. And it was amazing.
It was
not a Bloody Mary guy,
dude.
I like dill pickle.
Oh my god, it's so good. I'm staring at it right now. I'm like, should I make the V8s and that?
Hell, you went through 2 bottles. Might as well make it 3.
Might as well, huh? might as well find the bottom of a 3rd jar, huh?
Did you all try the Sweet Tooth, her hardtack candy with the liquor? That was good.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth, the hard candies.
Yes.
As soon as you walk in on the left.
God.
Yeah,
we were there. That was the longest I was in that building, was because my husband and my daughter were trying every single flavor.
I never chipped a tooth until I went there. She didn't tell me it was hard candy. I was like 16 drinks deep, and I popped the dill pickle one in my mouth, and I just chowed on it. I was like, she's like, what do you think?
It's her fault if you were 16 drinks in.
I was like, Uncle Joey, what do you think? And he's like, what's wrong?
Slushy. Like, all right, let's go get a slushy, Uncle Joey. That sounds about right.
So is he going to do Farm to Bottle again next year?
He says he is. He's talking about doing one later this fall, even though I don't know. I don't know when later this fall would be. Fall's about over, but I think he's doing another one next year. You guys should set up and let people try your alcohol there.
I asked Brian, and he was going to come up and check it out, and I went up there, and he was really busy that day. The distillery was on Saturdays. You can't even. It's just really, really, really busy on Saturdays because of all the events that's been happening in the Hocking House. Like this week is the fair. I was going to go tonight, but then I remembered, crap, I have that podcast. I'm not going to see the rodeo this year.
We could have rescheduled. You should have told Sean to reschedule.
It's okay.
We'd have just blamed him and could have did a different day. So anybody coming on, if you need to reschedule for a different day, we're flexible. Usually I'll be like, I'm cool with that. I didn't want to get out of the chair anyways. It happens. But
he didn't end up coming up, and he didn't understand like the rules of the game. Like if you make a product, because usually when he goes and does tasting somewhere, the place he has to physically buy the bottles and then he has to sell the shots. It's really weird how all that works.
Yeah.
I never got my license to do it because I was always at the distillery. I didn't have time to drive around and let people try it. And
you're talking about the little card you got to get. You got to get that little card to go around so you can let people try your alcohol and sell it to them like that.
Yeah, and he hasn't done that in so long that his has actually expired to be able to do that, the traveling part. So he wasn't for sure if he would even be allowed or how that worked. And he didn't have enough info on it. And I told him, I said, well, we'll just check it out this year and then maybe next year do it.
Now, he did say that next year he figured out a way to sell bottles.
Oh.
I don't know how all that works, but that's what he was talking about. So that would be great. That'd be real cool.
That would draw more guys in, if they were able to sell bottles there. You try something and you like it, you want to buy it right there. You don't want to be like, well, if you drive 4 hours, you can buy this from me. It's like, I want to buy one right there, man.
I'll tell you the store down the road. You can buy it.
Oh shit! Well,
so if you had any advice for somebody just beginning, what would it be as far as like not so much just learning how to make moonshine and not so much open a distiller? We all know that you need a blank check, and for majority of us, that's never going to happen. So, but a lot of new people come on and they're just learning how to make alcohol. And since you got thrown into it, what is some knowledge that you would pass off to the next beginner? To
give yourself grace. You're going to mess up. Give yourself grace, and just know that if you mess up, there's only room for improvement.
That's great advice. Don't be afraid to mess up, and don't get discouraged. Like I said, give yourself some grace. The hell, I mess up now all the time. Still, it happens. No matter if you've been doing it a day or 1,000 days or 1,000,000 days, y'all gonna have the same problem. So keep your head up, man.
Well, people that think they know everything are generally the people that know the least. You got to be able to have an open mind and learn. And granted, even though, like you said, you do the same thing, 75 pounds of sugar, 50 pounds, things change. Sometimes something may not work off right, or it may take longer, or still may heat up faster than, normal or whatever. But you got to, take things in stride and roll with it.
Roll with the punches.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Keep on going, man.
Every single still that we have, they all have their moody days. Number 3 is my biggest problem. So yeah. And it's the newest.
Yeah, just keep it going. Keep it going.
Is it a leaky problem, or is it just
it caught fire on me the one time.
That's the story we like to hear.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. I just look over at my coworker and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she was over by the back door and I'm like, I see flames coming out of our box. And she's like, nuh-uh. And I'm like, dude, yeah. So she walks over to look at it and she's over top of this, like our electric panel box, because each one has its own unit. And she's standing over top of it and I can see the flames and the reflection on her jeans. And I'm like, that's on fire. So I go rip the extinguisher off the wall. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I just stood there. She opened the nozzle, put it out. We had to call the fire department. It was the whole thing. Yeah, we were running every single still that day too. So I had to shut them all down. I'm just
man.
FML today.
You have
Five-
days like that. So
5 stills would be a lot of stills to run.
yeah, all at once. That's
And
a
they
lot.
all
Electric.
have their own temperaments.
Yeah.
I mean, you always have to pay attention because if one of them gets the one that caught fire, number 3, it had been causing me problems for a few weeks. I would see it, I would watch it just flatline every once in a while. And I'm like, okay, this one's just, there's something not right. And it finally just couldn't handle it anymore. It was done. And it just decided to show me what it could do. It took
That's
us,
crazy.
I think, 4 to 6 months to get that one back up and running.
So have you guys thought about just going to a bigger still with like steam jacketed?
He has thought about that before, but he says the thing that he know, because he grew up around the Moonshiners from the Moonshine Festival every year. That's where he grew up. Yeah, New Straitsville Moonshine Festival. And he learned from the old timers that were making it in the mines and everything. And they always said, you want to keep it small. You want to keep everything as simple as possible. You don't want to overthink things. So that's why he goes with 100-gallon. He doesn't want to go bigger because in his mind, he believes it just strips all your flavor. And he could be right. I don't know. I've never messed with a bigger still. So
everybody's got their own way, you know.
Yeah.
So there ain't nothing wrong with that. So who built you guys stills?
I stare at that thing 1,000,001 times every day, hon.
I know the barrels.
Where's the
I think Bubba's
Yeah,
barrels.
Bubba Barrels. Yeah,
Nice.
Bubba Barrels. And
Nice.
then he goes to a place in Cleveland and had the copper work done
And you
because
said
he
those
just
are,
had 2 new ones made.
and they're all like everything's run off electric. They're all electrical heat and elements and SDR controllers or PID controllers.
I think it's the first one.
SCR.
I stare at
SDRs.
I would
I stare at
imagine
that
it's
stuff
SCR.
every single day.
You're supposed to
I
write
know,
this stuff
one-
down for the show. We're gonna ask
I
you some
know, right?
questions, but
Well, at the old store, we only had 2. And since they didn't own the building, we had all these weird water lines running to them. And you had to burp them all the time or they would just plug up like crazy. And at the new store, he went ahead and bought 3 more. So he had every still perfectly ran to its own conduit. And it's like, it's amazing. So if something happens with one, we can just shut that guy down. And when we're running tails, we just turn it up and turn the heat up just a hair. Everything, it just has a flow to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I've just gotten used to the flow.
you know, when you build it yourself, you do it exactly how you want it. Makes your life easier.
It's pretty.
When you guys had the fire, was it the SCR that caught fire? The controller box? Was it the
Yeah.
element? It was
It
just
was
the
the
box
controller.
caught fire. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
there's
can
2
see that.
elements running in through that.
Yeah. So big old giant 60 amp or 50 amp service and all that. So
Yeah, it was crazy.
that sounds crazy. But all right, anyways, we'll let everybody get off here. We've kept all y'all here long enough. I will say, you know, the Moonshine World, we lost a legend last week, so you know, we're going ahead and tip our glasses up, and we'll say rest in peace, Jim Tom. You know, we appreciate everything that you gave us, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, and definitely all the entertainment, man. He was one of my favorite characters on the show, and
Totally.
I'm honored and pleasured to have watched him on the show, you know, and if you got to meet him, I'm sure that he was amazing in person too. So, you know, if you got a glass, tip it up for Jim Tom. Big Sturge, you got something you want to add, my brother?
I'm not sure you guys will put though.
Got some dill pickle in that?
I do. I got dill pickle dill pickle and V8.
Yeah, time to mash that rye in.
Yeah.
You got some rye, mash that in honor of Jim Tom.
No, that was good. Man.
You're right,
So,
Phil Millie.
The one question I have, Sean, I invited you onto our podcast earlier, and I didn't see you until late. Big Easy, I'm sure, and Stephanie, you both know this isn't my podcast, but it's a question I think is well deserved for tonight.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Where were you 9/11 of 01?
I knew where I was.
You go ahead, lead the way.
Me and my husband just got married 3 days before the towers fell. I took the week off work. I was the hostess at the front desk at a hotel, and I was supposed to go to a very important meeting that day, but for some reason my keys had disappeared. So I called in and told him that I couldn't find my keys, and she said, "Turn on the TV. Don't worry about coming here."
Wow.
Forget that.
I was sitting in government at Northwestern,
Young.
and oh yeah, and that's when I heard about that, and then all of a sudden, everybody started getting on their phones, calling their families, turning TVs on, and watching the news and all that. So
I had graduated from high school that year in May, and I was doing roofing. I was on a roofing job, and we was just on a roof in the west side of Dayton, and we was in the ghetto part of Dayton, and listening to the radio, and right after it happened, it came on the radio, and we had no idea. There wasn't smartphones and all this back then. You just couldn't see. News didn't travel like that, and so all day we're working and we're just listening about. We never stopped working,
Yeah.
because no matter what happens, usually in the other parts of the world, you just keep doing your day long, and then get home that evening and watch the news, and it's just like, oh my god, and then you're in shock. So it's crazy, and like if something like that was to happen now, it would be instant. You would have pictures, video, and
Could you even imagine if it happened now?
Yeah, and that's hopefully that's something we never have. We never have to deal with. Our kids never have to deal with. It was definitely a life-changing event.
I know. I appreciate you guys. I mean, Big Easy, Sean, as I'm on here on behalf of American Whiskey Podcast. I appreciate you guys. We focused on that today. It was something that we all you remember where you were. And if you weren't even alive, then like I work at an apartment complex, I'm maintenance. I literally had someone come in today. My boss will tell you, I think they were born in 04. And they said something about it. I mean, it was a day that is stamped in history. 2,996 people lost their lives. So it's a day to remember. And so, yeah, I know, Sean, you said something about having you join earlier, and I didn't even see it. So I was interested in where you guys were at the moment. And this isn't my podcast, but I appreciate you.
You're all good, man. We had a good time, man. It was nice to have you here asking questions that we don't think about to ask, because like when
the dumb guy.
It's what you're used to. You don't ask certain questions because it's just second nature. So we really appreciate you giving us part of your evening, Sturge. Stephanie, it was an honor. It was a pleasure to have you here. Sean,
hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
We're gonna get together and come down.
Easy. I'm gonna text you tomorrow about it.
So yeah, we figured it out, man.
Just remember, we are closed on Sundays. Thank you, Ohio.
That's all right. It wouldn't matter if they'd let me. I'd still be open on Sunday. A lot of people don't go out drinking on Sundays. They do a lot of healing. A lot of healing.
No,
Sundays.
actually,
that's how you heal.
The brewery and the winery are slammed on Sundays.
Really? Nice.
I drink on Sundays.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, two or three more new wineries just opened up recently.
I must not be part of the majority. All right. Well, we love all y'all. Thanks for listening. Check us out on Spotify, Amazon, Prime Music, Samsung. You always watch us here on YouTube. Just click on the live link. Go back. I think we're about 60 episodes in, maybe more. I'm not sure, but we're cranking them along, man. So
these are the boys, man. Check them out.
Y'all go check out America and Whiskey's podcast, man. It's a good podcast. I really enjoy listening. I really enjoy watching Uncle Joey just get obliterated. That's my favorite part of the show. So that's my boy.
You don't enjoy watching me? That's fine.
You're in the battle seat very often, man. You do all the talking, and Joey does all the drinking. So he's a much better watch.
They flopped roles tonight. Apparently, he's been doing all the drinking.
Hey, I've done some drinking, dude. I just poured a nice pickle juice in V8, and I'm good.
Hey, hold on. How is that over
I thought you were keeping that pickle juice.
Man, we knew that wasn't happening.
Listen.
He started talking about it, and it's done.
I got plenty. I just opened it.
So where'd you get that?
I got a couple of them, man. I got hooked up at it at the far in the bottle. Fred loved me there, man. And then I opened up the V8 juice. So I'm gonna tell you right now, when I get off here, I'm gonna have another one.
Might as well.
Well, fuck it. Why not?
Hey, if you gotta have two's better than one.
Multiple.
All right, y'all have a good night. Thanks for
Love
listening,
you guys. Thanks for having me.
Take us out, Sean. Thank you,
Bye.
Stephanie. If you want to hang out for the after show, hang around.